Support for Sportspage is provided by the University Store. The University Store is the official headquarters for Mules and Jennies emblem clothing, gifts, and UCM memorabilia. Books, office supplies, art supplies, and more are available at the University Store, located on the lower level of the Elliott Union on the UCM campus in Warrensburg. And promotional support for Sportspage is provided by 1450 KOKO and 98.5 The Bar. 1450 KOKO and 98.5 The Bar, the radio home of University of Central Missouri Athletics.
Coming up on this week's episode of the UCM Sports Page, we're talking football as the Mules look to Week 8 of the 2014 season. We'll also catch up with Jennies volleyball as UCM fights to stay in the top of the MIAA ranks with an eye on NCAA regionals sooner than we think. Head coach Jim Svoboda and assistant head coach Caitlin Pankratz will join us in studio for that. Plus, we'll continue our weekly featured Sports Page Spotlights where we take a closer look at student athletes that you know by name but might not know a lot about. This week, we're catching up with football tight end Cullen Rosine and Carly Sojka, an outside hitter on the Jennies volleyball team. We'll have all of that and more on this week's edition of the University of Central Missouri Sports Page. Welcome to Sports Page here on KMOS-TV. I'm Alex Greenlee. We're going to kick things off with football. Week 7 of the 2014 season had UCM at home for the second of back-to-back games at Walton Stadium Kennedy Field. This one was sure to be special as we celebrated homecoming in Warrensburg. Former and current Mules and Jennies packed into the stands as the Mules faced a mid-season test. Nationally ranked number 22, Central Oklahoma, was in town, a team that boasted a 5-1 record and had not committed a single turnover all season. This was just the third all-time meeting between UCM and UCO. The Broncos came to town on the heels of a big triple overtime win against Missouri Southern, while the Mules were still riding high after shutting out Washburn. Saber Hepner was on the sidelines for Saturday's game, and she's got some highlights for us.
It's homecoming weekend here in Warrensburg as the Mules face the nationally ranked Central Oklahoma Broncos. There are 22 in the country with a 5-1 record. Let's take a look at some of the highlights.
The Central Missouri Mules defeated the 22nd ranked Central Oklahoma Broncos 31-19 in front of 9,783 fans on homecoming at Walton Stadium Kennedy Field. Mules won the toss and defer. UCO will receive. The Broncos drove near midfield on their next possession, but were forced to punt. The Mules got on the board on their first drive of the game with an 8-yard Hayden Hawk touchdown run early in the first quarter. It topped off a 6-play, 43-yard drive and gave UCM a 7-0 lead with 11:13 left in the first quarter. The Mules regained possession at their own 23 and quickly capitalized on their second touchdown of the day by the shifty back, LaVance Taylor. Central Oklahoma got on the board midway through the second quarter on a 64-yard drive that led to a field goal. Both teams went 3 and out on their first drives of the second half. The Mules are able to extend their lead on the 8th play of the next possession. Hawk hits Kyle Eccles for a 21-yard score. The Broncos take the ensuing possession 74 yards and kick a field goal to add 3 points. UCO's drive early in the fourth quarter is halted by an interception by Connor Smith. Facing a 2nd and 10, Taylor takes off for an 80-yard touchdown run, making it his second touchdown of the day. The Mules defense with another big play as Zach Linebaugh intercepts a Bronco pass. The Mules tag on 3 points with a 19-yard field goal by Mondragon. The Broncos scored their first touchdown of the day on the ensuing possession. They are able to add one more touchdown to the board with 1:58 left in the game.
We're here with sophomore J.R. Alexander. J.R., last week you guys shut out Washburn, and you really handled Central Oklahoma this week. What's got this defense going?
Our goal from the beginning of this season was to be the #1 defense in the conference, and every week we're trying to capitalize, we're trying to become better and just get better and better.
How key was your interception with what this defense is trying to do?
I feel like it was a big play. We were on our heels down in the goal line, so anytime you can come up with a turnover down in the goal line, it's a big play, helps out our offensive line.
Now, each week, KMIAA is very tough. You guys only have 4 games left. So how do you want your defense to continue to be a factor in the Mules winning games?
Every week, like I said, we're trying to get better. So we count on this defense. We depend on defense. We believe in the defense. So, every week we're trying to capitalize on any mistake the offense makes, anything. So, we're planning on being a huge factor.
I'm Sabra Hefner, reporting for Sportspage.
So on homecoming weekend, Central Missouri takes down number 22, Central Oklahoma, 31-19. Levance Taylor rushed for 234 yards on 21 carries. He ran in 2 scores and was named MIAA Offensive Athlete of the Week for his efforts. Kyle Eccles led the passing side with 104 yards and just 3 catches. He scored 1 touchdown. The Mules are now 5-2 on the season, as well as the same record in the MIAA. And joining us now in studio is head coach Jim Sabota. And Coach, let's get started as we come out of the gate here. The Mules are rolling. Your defense stopped Central Oklahoma right away. The Broncos netted a negative of 3 yards on their first possession, which only went for 4 plays. And then the first score comes with Hayden Hawk running the ball in. How did it feel to get a score on your first possession of a game against a nationally ranked team? Well, that's what you hope to do. Our goal is to try to get up early if possible, and you never know how the game's going to unfold. You may have to make some adjustments. There may be some things you haven't seen before in your preparation, and so that all goes into it. You want to handle the speed bumps, but if you can get up on somebody early, especially a good, a team that was on the roll like them, that's definitely an advantage. Central Oklahoma tried to get going, but they can't get past your defense, which of course is a good thing. And then you pass and throw a little bit in the second possession. Levance Taylor goes and gets your second touchdown of the game. Mules up 14-0 quickly in the first quarter. Why do you think the offense got off to such a good start? Well, a lot of offense is rhythm, and we were able to mix it up. As it turned out, they did what we thought they were going to do defensively, and so I felt like our kids are well prepared, and they executed very well, and that's the key. We were able to do our openers like we want to, and stay in rhythm, and mix up the run and the pass, and some short passes and some shots as well, so our rhythm was good early. And that it was, and we'll kind of skip over the second quarter here. Halftime, you're up 14-3. How excited was your team to have held UCO to just a field goal in the first half? Well, our defense did a great job of keeping them out of the end zone. I think a key play happened right before halftime because we actually had the ball, and we had some timeouts. We felt like we could put together a drive there and maybe put a score right before halftime. We ended up turning the ball over to them and fairly deep in our own territory, and the defense did a great job of stepping it up, and J.R. Alexander got that pick there late in the first half, so they kind of saved us there, and so we had a nice lead at halftime, yet it was an offense that was explosive and had been making some plays, and the quarterback was a guy that had been effective, and so we weren't comfortable with that lead, but it was nice to have it. The second possession of the third quarter, Kyle Eccles catches a 21-yard pass from Hawk. Those points go up on the board, and now the score is 21-3. How does it help the Mules defense out to know when they're playing with, instead of a 11-point lead, they're playing with an 18-point lead?
Well, I think at that point, what you probably do is it makes it difficult for their offense to mix it up. You know, they were pretty balanced running pass, and you stretch it out to a 3-score lead, and I think that sort of puts them in a position where they feel like they have to throw the football. And then when you can make a team one-dimensional like that, then I think you have an advantage. And you know, we were able to get some pressure on them. Our defensive line played well, and you know, and then you kind of pigeonhole them into doing just a few things.
Central Oklahoma had some life left in them with 2 touchdowns in the 4th quarter. Did that worry you at all towards the end of the game?
Yeah, it worried me a lot. We did a great job in terms of their onside. You know, that was key, and we had a good lead, but at the same time, they got into their no huddle deal, and they were starting to get some rhythm, and we were concerned about it. What you want to do when you get the ball back is milk the clock in that scenario. And then, unfortunately, we didn't get a first down on our first attempt at that. And then the second attempt, offensive line did a great job, and we were able to run the clock out.
Well, Coach, and the game's all over. Final score 31-19. Levance Taylor, 234 yards, 2 touchdowns. How does he continue to impress not only you, but everybody there for homecoming weekend?
Well, Levance really works hard, so we're just seeing the fruits of his efforts, clear back to starting when he was a freshman, and what he's done in the weight room and how hard he practices. But Levance will be the first one to tell you that our offensive line is doing a great job blocking as well. They're getting him to the second level, and anytime you can get him to the second level with the kind of speed that he has, he's a threat to go all the way, which he has done multiple times. He's had 50-plus yard runs on several occasions this year already.
Levance also picked up his 3rd MIAA Player of the Week award this season, obviously for his efforts in that game. How do you think this affects your team, and how other MIAA teams possibly perceive you?
Well, I think when you have a legitimate home run threat like that, it really makes the defense concerned about that aspect of your game for sure. And so it's definitely an advantage to have a weapon like that, but we also feel like we have a lot of other skill kids where we can spread the ball around, and and we don't wear Levance out. He's never had a game where he's had like 40 carries. I think that our ability to mix it up and keep them off balance helps him in some ways in terms of down the stretch. That run that he had was late in the game, and that was key for us. And I think part of the reason is that he still had good legs, and he was able to take that 80-yarder in there.
Yeah, and you referenced that 80-yard touchdown running downhill. I love that. Kyle Eccles with 104 yards receiving, 1 touchdown and 3 catches. How is it to have him as a guy that can just get open and run downhill?
Well, he's been our best guy in terms of yards per catch, that's for sure. But that's really not by design. It's just it so happened that he's in there when we have those plays called, and a lot of things have to happen for a well-executed pass play. We got to protect the quarterback. He's got to have time to throw, and then he's got to throw a good pass, and of course we got to run a good route and make the catch. So we feel like we got 7 or 8 or 9 guys that can do that, and Kyle's been in the in the right place at the right time and executed and made big plays, and but we feel like we got some other guys that can do that too.
Well, and when you get that running game going, obviously that gets that pass offense wide open. You can start throwing the ball, which you guys do very well. Let's move on a little bit to Central Oklahoma. This team had not committed a single turnover before playing your team, and you have to admit, Coach, that's impressive. But probably even more impressive is that when this game is all said and done, excuse me, the Broncos went from no turnovers to 4, 3 picks, a fumble, and 4 sacks. How big of a factor has your defense been for the past couple of games?
Well, the turnover margin, as we've discussed many times, is probably the most legitimate statistic. You can talk about rushing yards and passing yards and so forth, but if you're taking the ball away more than you're giving it away, you got a lot better chance to be successful in terms of winning the game. So we've always put an emphasis on that. The fact that we did it against a team that had been so efficient, I think, is was the difference in the game clearly, and we did that in key situations during the game as well, and so you'd like to come out on the top side of that turnover margin every game.
How do you want to continue to see your defense improve through the last few games of the season? Is there anything they can do differently?
Well, I think the whole team, we coming through the game, we played, it was an outstanding win, no question about it, and all phases contributed to it, but we felt like we probably left some things out there offensively, points-wise, and then, defensively, they put together some drives that really kept our offense off the field, so we feel like we need to do a little better job on third down defensively. And getting the other team off the field. And then offensively, we kick too many field goals, so we got to do a better job when we get down the red zone. But it's nice to have a 2 or 3 score win and feel like you got some things to work on and you can get better.
Getting a win like this at home against number 22, so top 25 ranked team on homecoming, obviously being at home in the MIAA, a big thing, especially here at Walton Stadium, Kennedy Field. What did this do for the confidence of this squad?
Well, I think anytime you win a game, it helps you out and reveals some more things about your team and good things and things that you need to work on. And it's nice to to win a game and then feel like you have some things that you can get better at as we talked about. So our kids are in a good place. They know if they play well, they can beat anybody, and that's the truth. And they also know that if they don't play well, if they don't take care of business, that it can be anybody's game with any team in the league. So I think they're mature about that. They get it, and that's why they practice hard and prepare the way they do.
And that they do. Let's talk about Cullen Rosine. We're doing a spotlight on him later in the show. Talk about his season so far and how well he's done at tight end.
Well, Cullen's battled a little bit of a shoulder thing, so he's been somewhat limited, but he's clearly picked up his game in terms of his blocking. He's always been a weapon as a receiver because of his size and his athleticism and his ball skills. So he's a nice weapon to have, and like I said, the way we spread it around, that position could be the position that has a key play, and he had multiple of those in the game, and so. He's a guy that we're real proud of because he came as a walk-on. He was a basketball guy, loved the game, loved being a part of the Mules football team, and has really become an outstanding leader and really made himself into a very fine football player.
And that he has. Shifting gears now, instead of from basketball to football, let's go to Northeastern State in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. Give us a bit of insight here. This isn't exactly necessarily a short road trip. Obviously, you guys got to go. What kind of challenge does that drive pose to your team?
Well, I think if you make it a challenge, if you make it a big deal, it's a big deal. We have several road trips that are comparable in distance-wise, and it's a road trip, and you're on a bus. If you're on a bus, what's the difference between 2.5 hours or 3.5 hours or 4 hours? So,
right.
We'll handle that, and we're going to have a great trip down there. Coach Clem does a great job in terms of organizing us and on our road trips and where we're going to stay and so forth. And so we want it to be, an enjoyable time. I think our kids travel well. They enjoy being around each other. It's kind of it's a smaller group, so it's a little more tight-knit on the road, and so it's a definite positive, and we're going to have a great trip down there, and the bottom line is we only know we have 4 of these things left this season for sure, and so this is one of those, and everybody loves Saturdays, and that's what we want to do. We want to go down there and be excited about another opportunity to play football.
Well, and third ranked in the MIAA, Northeastern State's 0-7. I wish you the best of luck, Coach.
Thanks, Alex.
Down there in Tahlequah. Thanks for joining us. And this weekend against Northeastern State, and up next, the Sports Page Spotlight on tight end Cullen Rosine. Don't go away. Welcome back to the UCM Sports Page here on KMOS-TV. Tight end Cullen Rosine has played in every game for the Mules this season. He is tied for a team-leading 23 receptions on the year, and the Knob Noster native also has 2 touchdowns. Let's meet senior Cullen Rosine.
I grew up in Namnasa, Missouri, which is 10 miles away, and I grew up watching all sorts of mules, sports, football, basketball, baseball. So when I was getting recruited, it was kind of an easy choice. I got a scholarship to play basketball, actually, and I took it as soon as they called. So. Playing under Coach Sojka, it's a lot of fun. It's up-tempo. We throw the ball, run the ball, and kind of asked to do, at the tight end position, you're asked to do a lot of different things, and just out there try to do my job. When my number gets called, I try to make a play. So, I mean, it's a lot of fun playing for them. We have an up-tempo style, and we try to put a lot of points on the board. Coach Wright, my position coach, it's his first year here, and is starting off. He's a different type of coach of what we had. He's a real big run blocker. Knows a lot of the techniques that I haven't really ever been introduced to before. So having him around has really improved my run blocking game and my blocking game in general. And he's helped me, I mean, a lot, and I can't praise him enough from where he's taken my game, and helped me get my game to the next level. Most of the players, we all hang out together. I mean, there's certain groups that hang out with each other more than others, but I mean, as a football player, I think all my best friends at school are football players. We all hang out together. We have to practice together multiple hours a day, so when we get done practicing, it's just natural to hang out with each other. And we're a real close group of friends and almost like family. So, typical day of practice. 2:15 we have meetings, so we'll watch film, go over new plays, go over old plays, watch opponents' film, then that's probably an hour and a half. Come out to practice, we get warmed up, and after we warm up, all of our drills pretty much happen back to back to back. So it's a pretty up-tempo practice, and just a lot of running against the scouts, a lot of running our new plays, just trying to get everything down for the week to come. I have a bachelor's degree in safety management. I'm currently working on my master's in industrial hygiene. I'm actually taking 3 online classes right now, so a lot of my time is spent at my desk reading, writing papers, stuff like that. I guess my favorite pastime right now would be riding a motorcycle. I like just getting out there, and it's another, I guess, kind of relaxing thing. You don't have to work too hard to do it, so it's kind of easy going, just ride around Warrensburg, Knob, wherever it happens to be, like riding motorcycles. My family's been a huge, I guess, contributor to my success in athletics and life in general. I was the youngest of 3 brothers, and just my older brothers always played sports, so growing up, that's what I wanted to do. And I think I had an advantage being the youngest brother, always playing against that better competition. And my parents make 95% of my games from, as long as I can remember. So my parents are always there for me. My brother tries to make as many games as he can. So, my family's huge. I love having all my family close and love having them all come to the games. Being selected captain was a huge honor because it was selected by my teammates and my peers. So, it means a lot to me that they look up to me in that way, and they expect a lot out of me. And I guess my role as a captain is I always have to work hard and keep everybody else working hard and keep people playing at their peak.
And as we know, what Coach Boda said earlier in the interview, he's happy that Cullen made the choice to go from basketball to football to play on this team. Congratulations, Cullen, on your senior season. Keep up the great work. And up next, Jason Ketz has all the results from this past week. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Sports Page. I'm Jason Ketz. Here's a look back on this past week in UCM athletics. Jennies soccer put its undefeated record on the line against Central Oklahoma in Edmond last Friday. In the second half, UCM took a corner kick, which gave Megan Woolley a chance to shoot. It was saved by the keeper, but Alex Yaki found the back of the net with a rebound. It was her 7th goal of the season, and it gave Central Missouri the 1-0 advantage. Jennies goalie Anna Dilks would only have to make one more save to preserve the undefeated record, as UCM got the win over the Broncos 1-0. After the bowling team began its season going 13-0 with a 3rd-place finish at the Newman Mid-State Invitational, the Jennies were back on the road for the Orange and Black Invitational in Miamisburg, Ohio. The Jennies went 8-2 on the weekend, good enough to win the tournament. Freshman Haley Richards was the individual leader for the Jennies with an impressive 220.8 average and 2nd overall finish. Jennifer Potts and Gabriella Mayfield also finished inside the top 10, averaging 215.6 and 202.8 respectively. Jennies soccer traveled to Tahlequah on Saturday to take on Northeastern State after beating Central Oklahoma on Friday. After Hannah Pyle found the back of the net in the 17th minute, the Riverhawks would respond with 2 straight goals and took the lead to halftime. After Hannah Pyle's 2nd goal of the game, junior Julie Ireland added her 5th goal of the season to give the Jennies the lead. Senior forward Aaron Robinson added an insurance goal in the 82nd minute to extend the Jennies' lead and undefeated season. UCM soccer beat Northeastern State 4-2. Coming off a midweek win against Lindenwood, the Jennies volleyball team hosted Southwest Baptist last Friday at the Multi here in Warrensburg. KMOS-TV's Brianna Blocker has more.
I'm Brianna Blocker at the Multi-Purpose Building in Warrensburg, Missouri. It's homecoming weekend here at the University of Central Missouri, where the Jennies battle the SBU Bearcats. Let's take a look at those highlights. Central Missouri came out with an immediate kill from Carly Sojka against the Southwest Baptist Bearcats. Haley Thompson kept the momentum going with the kill. Thompson had a team-high 13 kills for the night. Again, Sojka there with the 3rd hit. Sojka had 10 kills and hit .47 for the night. As a whole, the Jennies hit .45 as a team, with 4 players hitting over 400 individually in the match. The score was tied through the first 16 points of the opening set. Here, the Bearcats put up a fight attempting to keep a rally going. Rebecca Blaze was there for the tip. Another kill by Sojka. When the Bearcats' attempt to block fell through, Courtney Thompson was able to pancake the ball and save the play. Thompson was around the ball all night with 6 kills, 31 assists, and 10 digs in the match. And the Jennies win set 1, 25-15. In the second set, the Jennies scored 6 in a row to start the set. Southwest Baptist got to 6, but the Jennies extended their lead to 12 points at 18-6. Up next for the serve is Annie Riley, one of the team's strongest servers. Riley had 13 digs in the match. Here we have Shelby Winkleman, the team's dyad player, going up for the kill. One of 10 kills she had in the match. Courtney Thompson faked the Bearcats with a tip over the net for the next 2 plays. Another kill by Sojka. As the Bearcats try to make a comeback, UCM gains the point on a Bearcat error. The Jennies score again, faking the Bearcats by tipping the ball short. Southwest Baptist earned their 10th point just before the Jennies finished the set. The Jennies take 2 sets, 25-10. Shelby Winkleman came out in the 3rd set as a libero, giving Annie Riley an opportunity to play front row. the game went on, the Jennies kept up their momentum, playing with awesome energy. Another tip by Haley Thompson, and a double with Thompson and Sojka. While Riley is usually the libero, she showcased her ability to play front row. Another double block completed by Riley and Maddie Jones. Jones had 6 kills for the night. Southwest Baptist was able to keep the final set close, but the Jennies still finished with a 25-19 win to take the match. I'm here with sophomore middle hitter Haley Thompson. So the Bearcats really kept you guys on your toes today, hitting a lot of short balls. What was your strategy around that?
We practice that in practice. We kind of do a scouting report and know what they like to hit, and we key on certain hitters, and so we practice that, have the other side hit balls like that so that our liberos know to move forward. Annie's always really good about getting those short balls. So
you guys always come out so effortless and full of energy, especially today. Does the fact that it's homecoming weekend contribute to this?
I'd say so. We had the pep rally before the game today, so we got to see all the sororities and fraternities and ask them to come give us a little support, and the drum line was amazing tonight. We love having them here and that energy, so we feed off that definitely.
All right, you're an amazing spiker and a major asset to the team, but what goes through your head when you don't achieve the kill you expected?
Just next ball. Every time, we're in practice and we don't get a ball that we want, Flip just says, move on to the next one, make the next play better. So, I talk to my setter. If we need to connect better, we'll talk to each other about what needs to happen, and then the next time I just try to improve every single time.
You did an amazing job today. Thank you so much for interviewing with us.
Thank you.
I'm Brianna Blocker reporting for Sportspage.
And as you can look there, UCM beats Southwest Baptist in 3 straight sets. I'm now joined by assistant coach Caitlin Pankratz. Coach, talk about this first set and how your team was able to come out with the win.
It's really important for us to start out strong. We talk a lot about, the pregame stuff, the film Haley talked about. And so usually we can kind of get ourselves pretty pumped up for the first set. I think they did a good job. That second time playing a team is a lot tougher than the first time around.
Sojka had 6 kills. Thompson had 5 in that first set win, 25-15. Set 2 now, you're down 1-0, you tie the score, take the lead 2-1. You didn't look back from there. What would you say was different from the first set to the second set as far as offensively?
That's kind of what we're missing, is that consistency to, get ahead and hold that lead. Every now and then we get a little bit of an up and down. But I think we've got some leadership that's really developing in Annie, Riley, and Carly Sojka. And our younger setter is really starting to play well. So I think, it's just their confidence together helped us kind of keep that consistency for that set.
And now looking to third set now, you're leading 19-15, but Southwest Baptist goes on a 10-4 run. They had 5 kills, 2 ball handling errors on you guys, an attack error, and 1 serving ace. Talk about, their comeback that they had and how you were able to adjust to pull off the victory in the third set.
In that third set, you can see that they made some changes. We made some changes in the lineup, and it had Annie hitting and a different libero. And anytime you make changes like that, it kind of messes with everybody. You're next to somebody different, you're passing next to somebody different. So I think it was kind of a little bit of that, all together, not exactly confident in who you're next to. But it was good to get to do that, to see how it works in a game. So.
Now in that third set, you switched over. Annie Riley was no longer the libero. Talk about, your strategy with that and how you could play on that for the rest of the season.
We get to see her swing from the service line, and she's got a terrific serve. And when we put her in the front row, we get to use that velocity of her swing. She just hits a little bit heavier ball than some of our other outsides, and it's just a different look. If our other outside, other than Carly, it could be Shelby, it could be Lauren Dudgeon. If it's not working out and they've keyed on them pretty well, Annie's just a completely different type of jump, a different swing. So we want to be able to use that if we have to.
Now looking ahead, you had Pitt State. You had to go on the road. Now you beat them at home in 3 straight sets. Talk about your guys' philosophy and mentality going into that game against the Gorillas.
Right now it's really important that we take every single game, as the most important one. The next game is the most important, whether it's, Pitt State or Emporia, Washburn, whoever it is, and we have to know that, even though we beat them 3-0 at home, they're going to come out and they're going to want to beat us because they may not have a chance at the postseason. So this game is their postseason. If they beat us, they get to make their season and maybe ruin ours. So our girls understand that each game is very, very important.
Now let's talk about that first set. Haley Thompson had 3 kills, Sojka had 5. Pitt State had 12-point errors in that first set. What was working well for you guys offensively?
We have great ball control, and I think that helps us have options on our offense. We could kind of set anybody. We were having a lot of success offensively, and I think they kind of just weren't, I don't know if they weren't ready. They didn't play quite as well in those first 2, and then played much better in 3rd and 4th.
Set 1, you win 25-13. Going on to that set 2 that you just mentioned, you win the set 25-12. You go on a 9-2 run. Becca Blaze has 3 kills. You have 4 separate players that have 1 kill, a serving ace, an attack error. Most teams, when they play you guys, they focus on Carly Sojka, the outside hitter, just because she gets the most kill opportunities. Talk about how important it is for your team to be able to rely on not just Sojka, but the rest of the girls on the court to be able to score points.
Yeah, that's something we've been talking about, adding Annie on the outside. We've got to be able to score and be offensive in all 8 positions or all 6 positions on the net. Because if they have to worry about the right side and the middle, the blockers, have more to think about than just going to block Carly. And if Becca is offensive and Maddie Jones is really becoming more of an offensive threat for us, then they have to worry about them, and Carly Sojka will be more available and more open.
Now we're talking 3rd and 4th sets. You guys are tied. 3rd set you were tied at 18. 4th set tied at 23. You were unable to win both of those sets. What did the Gorillas do differently in those last 2 sets toward the end of those 2 sets to be able to come out with the victories?
I thought we served really tough in the first 2, and they run a really, really fast offense. It's hardly above the net, and if they don't have great passes, they can't run that offense. So I felt like in the 3rd and 4th set, we didn't serve quite as tough, and so they were able to get passes to the setter, and they could run anything they wanted, and we had a lot of trouble stopping them from scoring.
Now in the 5th set, you find yourself again tied at 14, needing 2 points to win the match. Talk about how big Carly Sojka's kill to give you guys that 15-14 lead was.
We can always count on her. She's very reliable. She doesn't make a lot of mistakes. Even if it's not always a kill, we can rely on her to get the ball in play, and maybe we'll get a second chance. And that was a huge point for us because we hadn't been playing the best. And so that point to get us up 15-14 was huge for us.
And then to end the game, you have an attack error by Pitt State. You win the match, 16-14 win in that 5th set. How big of a win is that to get on the road, especially as deep into the season as you guys are?
It was definitely a stressful match, because we know that we've kind of got to win every game from now on to have a good chance of being a higher seed in the regional, but. We did not play that well. I kind of felt like Pitt State had it in their hands and, made a few mistakes in the 5th set to lose it. But it is good for our girls to keep playing and keep persisting, even though, everything's not quite going our way.
Now, looking ahead now, your next game is against Emporia State. Emporia State, when you guys played them earlier in the year, you won 3-1. What can you expect from this Hornets team?
They're a great team. They were our only conference loss last year, and I think that we still kind of think about that a little bit, but they know that this is an important match, and that, if we don't think about Emporia first, because we kind of get excited for Washburn, but if we don't think about Emporia first and take care of business, then the next matches don't matter. So we've really been talking a lot about Emporia this week, and that we've got to go in and play our game, and we'll be fine.
Now, in looking ahead to that Washburn matchup, it's a big matchup for you guys. Washburn is ranked ahead of you right now nationally. The last time you guys had a big opponent like that was Nebraska Kearney. You came in and beat them. What are the keys to beating this Ichabod's team?
They're very similar to us. They've got a really good outside. They've got a really good middle. They kind of rely on a lot, and so our key is kind of just to play our game and to do the things that we do well: pass well, serve well. Try to spread our offense out a little bit, but. We're really focusing on our side to take care of the ball, and if we do what we're supposed to do, it'll be a really good match.
Now, looking ahead again, you're playing Go to Northwest. This is the first time you guys will play them all year. What do you guys know about the Bearcats so far in their season?
Well, we did get to scrimmage them in the preseason, which isn't always very indicative of how well they're going to play. But we've got a little bit of film from that match, and we can see really up-to-date film from the software that we use. But they're a good team, and they're always one of those teams that we tend to go 4 or 5 with because they've got a good offense. They've got a lot of good hitters. So we'll be sure once we get through Emporia, get through Washburn, we'll focus on them on Monday at practice and be ready to go on the road Tuesday.
And what would you guys say is the biggest thing you guys need to work on to make sure you guys not only have a good, strong rest of the regular season, but moving in toward the postseason?
Technically, blocking for me is a big issue right now. We only had 4 blocks in a 5-set match at Pitt State, and I think that's kind of why we struggled so much. But really, it's just about playing together as a team, kind of trying to spread our offense out a little bit more and doing the things that we do well.
All righty, Coach. Thanks for joining us. Coming up after the break, we spotlight junior outside hitter Carly Sojka. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to Sports Page. Last season, Carly Sojka earned all MIAA honors for the 2nd straight year. She ended last season ranked 8th in the MIAA in kills per set. Let's take a closer look at the Blue Springs native.
I chose red, or I went about choosing red because I wanted to stay close to home, be close to my family. I have a younger brother who I'm really close with, and I thought this was a good distance. And once I visited, I realized the coaches were the kind of atmosphere I wanted to be around. I love Flip, and I had Chrissy, who's like an older version of Caitlin now, so I just really enjoyed the atmosphere that it was around. The team dynamic has kind of changed. Since I've been here, we had 2 older players that were very in charge, Julia Bates and Taylor Goodness, and my freshman year, even Brady Finnison. But now we're kind of a younger team, and Annie and I are trying to work our way into leadership roles, and I think we've done a good job of that so far. It's just a learning process. You're learning who you're playing next to and around with. Everybody's learning still. So I think it's a different team dynamic, but I think it's a good team dynamic. It's a good learning process for all of us, and we're improving as the year goes on, which is what you want to do. Our season so far, we started off with 2 very tough tournaments going to Florida and Colorado. We played very good teams when we were there. I think everyone knows that. I think losing a game no matter what's not fun, but it was a good learning experience for us, and I'm sure Flip did that on purpose. I know he did, actually. But coming into conference, I think those wins and losses in the beginning of our season make us stronger for conference, which is what you want to do. You want to be the best for conference and work your way towards postseason. So the losses we have at the beginning of the year, I think, added character to us and helped us build as a team towards what our main goal is at the end of the year, and play better in conference and take on the teams differently and approach the game how we want to throughout conference. The game against SBU was one of those we're very prepared for. We played them once already at the beginning of the season. We kind of knew it was going to be on the other side of the net against us, but I think we needed to improve our side a little bit. We need to clean it up a little bit, and I think once again that's part of the learning process. We're entering the second half of our season, and we want to be strong going into that. I mean, we still have a shot at postseason. We're tied for first in the conference right now. So we want to work hard to beat out the rest of the teams in our conference, and SBU is one of those teams. You can't misjudge anybody. You can't expect them to play down or just roll over and die and let you win a game. You have to play hard to win every game, and I think that's what we did. Typical day of practice would be early on in the week. We like to get our fundamentals in, passing, serving, working on hitting with blocks in front of us, I would say. Our favorite part of practice is playing gins against each other, back row attacks, which is fun for everyone, even the little people. But later on in the week, we go ahead and mimic what's going to be across the net from us. We look at, this week we'll look at Emporia State. We'll look at how they run their offense and how we need to prepare for that, blocking-wise and defensively. And offensively, we need to see where their blocking is and work on that. And they'll show us that through using ourselves. We'll go across the net and show everybody else where to be and all that stuff. So I think we're The first half of practice, or the week, we use to kind of get the fundamentals down, continue to improve our individual skill sets, and then towards the end of the week we prepare for the people that are going to be across the net from us and what they do and what we need to do to control what they do across the net. Fortunately, my major is sports management, so it has a lot to do with what I love, sports. So that makes it a little bit easier for me. But as far as travel and trying to stay on top of class schedules while we're traveling, it's difficult sometimes, but it's very doable. Professors understand when you're gone, and our coaches understand that school is very important to all of us. It's important to them as well. They make sure and tell us school comes first. We need to do well there. But I would say just staying on top of it during the week and avoiding having all your homework backed up before the weekends and stuff like that is what we try and do our best at. I've had him for 3 years now, so Flip is part of the reason I chose to come to Central. When I'm here, he's like my second dad. He is very caring towards all of us, not just individuals. So I think it's a fun experience working under Flip.
So far this season, in 71 sets played, Sojka has 283 kills. Coming up after the break, Alex Greenlee returns to give you a complete rundown of all the upcoming games for the Mules and Jennies. You're watching the Central Missouri Sports Page here on KMOS-TV, Missouri PBS.
Welcome back to Sports Page here on KMOS-TV, Missouri PBS. It's going to be a busy week for Central Missouri Athletics, and we've got a rundown of the schedule. Starting with Jennies soccer on Friday, the team is on the road to St. Joe to take on Missouri Western. The game starts at 4 p.m. The 9th-ranked Jennies have not lost a game so far this season.
Jennies volleyball is at home against Emporia State, also on Friday, October 24th. That game starts at 6 p.m. The Jennies are currently 14-7 on the season.
Mules and Jenny cross country are off to St. Louis October 25th for the St. Louis College of Pharmacy Fall Classic. The Mules place second at the Southwest Baptist Invitational, and the Jennies place third. Good luck, Mules and Jennies.
Mules football is on the road to face Northeastern State on Saturday, October 25th. Kickoff is set for 1 o'clock. The Mules are currently 5-2 this season.
Next up, it's Jennies volleyball at home against Washburn on Saturday, October 25th. The game starts at 3.
Jennies soccer has its second game of the week, October 26th against Northwest at noon. The Jennies are currently #1 in the MIAA standings.
Mules and Jennies golf are both off to Rio Grande, Puerto Rico, October 27th through the 28th for the University of Illinois Springfield Island Getaway. The Jennies placed third out of 9 teams at the University of Missouri St. Louis Triton Fall Invitational. The Mules placed first out of 19 teams at the Missouri Western Regional Invite. Good luck to Mules and Jennies golf.
Last but not least, Jennies volleyball will head to Maryville to take on Northwest next Tuesday, October 28th. Good luck, Jennies.
Jason, we've got several topics to talk about. First, let's talk about Levance Taylor, his third MIAA Player of the Week award that he's gotten. Obviously, for that effort, that 234-yard game that he had, a spectacular game. And if the Mules win at Northeastern, it'll be their 5th win in a row, first streak for them of that magnitude since 2010.
And talking about soccer, Alex, real quickly, Central Regional poll came out. They're ranked 2nd. They've played 5 teams that are in the top 10 on that, 4 of them being in the MIAA. And let's talk about Anna Dilks, the freshman goalkeeper for the Jennies. 8 goals allowed on 59 shots on goal. Just playing out of her mind, just to mention, I mean, being a senior in high school last year, Andover High School in Wichita, being able to come in, make an impact early for the Jennies.
Well, thanks for that, Jason. And that's your Central Missouri Sports Report here on KMOS-TV. Make sure to tune in next week. Until then, for our entire crew here at KMOS-TV, I'm Alex Greenlee.
And I'm Jason Ketz. Thanks for watching the UCM Sports Page here on KMOS-TV, Missouri PBS.
Support for Sportspage is provided by Union Station, Crossroads to Technology, a one-stop shopping source for technology needs, campus-compatible computers, software for Mac and PCs, and much more. Located on campus on the lower floor of the Elliott Union in Warrensburg. Union Station, Crossroads to Technology. And promotional support for Sportspage is provided by 1450 KOKO and 98.5 The Bar. 1450 KOKO and 98.5 The Bar, the radio home of University of Central Missouri Athletics.